Hi everyone, you can call me Psycho, and today is going to be a much less scripted video compared to my usual ones because I'm just going to be talking about this. I'm going to be rambling about it and just kind of getting all my thoughts out there. This was originally intended to just be a video about Mario Kart World, and then I realized I had a bunch of stuff to say just about everything to do with the console, and so I'm just going to kind of ramble about it. It's going to be much less scripted than my videos usually are, so hopefully you guys are okay with that. But yeah, this is not going to be a video essay style video. It's just going to be me rambling about the Switch 2 and everything that I like and don't like about it. So to start, the console itself just feels great, and I can't express that enough, but I knew as soon as I saw this, this looks like a premium device, and it feels like one too. And I had been considering getting myself something like a Steam Deck so I could play these more powerful console style games, because the Switch 1, while it kind of can do that, it can't really do that. So I was really excited when the Switch 2 was announced, and the idea of it being able to play more powerful games, and it being a larger, more substantial, proper handheld that I can actually play for a long time without my hands hurting as much. So yeah, this is really great. I love the way the thumbsticks feel on it. You also just have the magnets. Removing the Joy-Cons with the magnets is super fun and very satisfying, much better than the sliding in and out. It's a little less secure, but it's really unless the magnets deteriorate over time, I don't think it's going to be an issue. They don't come off. You'd have to try really hard to get them off. But yeah, it feels really nice. I like the snap. It's super easy. I just grabbed one out of there. Wouldn't be able to do that with the normal Switch. I'd have to use two hands to get that thing out. So yeah, this is really fun to have. I think the controllers are really great, and so it's a lot easier to just play games in handheld, which is how I like to play games. A lot easier than it was on the Switch 1. So I've been really enjoying that, and yeah, all of it just feels really high quality, and I really like it. And also, if we're talking about the controllers, we can talk about the mouse mode on the Joy-Con, which is really fun. I tried using it on Cyberpunk a little bit, and then I realized, oh wait, I don't really play games with a mouse, so I kind of stopped and just played it in handheld instead. But it was cool to try out for a minute. And yeah, for people who prefer playing with a mouse but can't really do that on their Nintendo console, now you can. And it's a little wonky because it's a Joy-Con, but it's still cool, and I think that's a really cool feature. Just being able to take the Joy-Con off and set it down on a table and start using it as a mouse. When I did that for the first time, I was it was impressive how seamless it was, and I really liked it. And it works. It feels natural to use it like a mouse, and I didn't really know what to expect from it, but I do really enjoy, especially navigating through the menu with it is very seamless. I enjoy that. And as far as the controllers, other than the Joy-Con, I haven't bought any of them. I did not buy the Pro Controller. I didn't buy the charging grip or anything like that. So I've just been using my Switch 1 Pro Controller, which is still one of my favorite controllers. When I went to pick up my games at Best Buy on release day, I would have picked up the Pro Controller if they had it, but I'm kind of glad they didn't because it's so expensive. But I know it has the programmable back buttons on it, which is really cool. But I would probably never use those except maybe for accelerating in Mario Kart. I know people are saying that's a good way to do it. So I'll get one of those sometime down the line, but I didn't feel the need to have it since they are backwards compatible with the old controller, and that controller's still a great controller even if the new one's better. So I've just been using that because I didn't feel like spending $85 on the new controller. Even though it does look really, really cool. But yeah, for now, I've been enjoying the Joy-Con, feel really great. And on the original Switch, I used to play in tabletop mode a lot until I realized it makes a lot more sense to just hold it in handheld. And I realized I like playing like that better anyway because I grew up on DS and 3DS and things like that. So it's just my favorite way to play games anyway. But I was playing No Man's Sky yesterday in tabletop mode, and I realized that this doesn't feel as cramped and claustrophobic as looking at the tiny Switch 1 screen when it's in tabletop mode, because the Switch 2 screen is so much bigger. And I guess we could talk about the screen. The screen is not an OLED, which I have the Switch OLED. I never had the original Switch, but I did play on friends' Switches a couple times, and I wasn't ever really impressed by the way the screen looked on the original Switch, but the Switch OLED I've always really loved. So I think this kind of lives up to that, surprisingly. I was expecting it not to look nearly as nice, but it actually does. It looks almost as nice, if not just as nice as the Switch OLED, which is really impressive because it's not an OLED screen. I think the HDR capability of it is probably playing into that, as well as the fact that it's just a larger screen that can display things at higher definitions because the console is more powerful. There's a lot of things playing into it. I've never really thought about the fact that it is an LCD screen while I'm playing because it looks almost as nice, if not just as nice as the OLED. So I really like the screen on this thing. But speaking of the screen and everything as far as HDR and the 4K of everything, this thing runs out of battery really fast. I've noticed that. I know there's issues with it, displaying the battery incorrectly, and you can reset it and fix it, but it's still not a good battery life. I feel like we'd play late night sessions of Minecraft with my friends for 5 hours at a time, and I feel like it would be 3 or 4 hours in before my Switch OLED would start to die. Maybe that's wrong, but I'm pretty sure it had a much better battery life than this, which feels like it lasts 1 to 2 hours, especially if you're playing something like No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk that uses a lot more battery than like a Nintendo game. You can tell the battery just runs out crazy fast. So pretty much if you're playing in handheld, you kind of have to play with it plugged in or just play docked. So that's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, I'm pretty much always somewhere where I can just plug it in. The only issue would be if I was on like a long car trip or something, but like right now, usually I've just been playing like in my room and I've been able to just plug it in. So that hasn't been as much of an issue. I mean, it's still an issue, but I haven't had to worry about it too much because I can just plug it in. But it is kind of irritating that that is the way that that works, and I wonder how that would play into like going on plane flights and things like that and not having a charger. But yeah, that was something I wanted to say about the console itself that I'm not super happy with, is the fact that the battery runs out as fast as it does. Also, I don't like that you can't turn the console on with the original Pro Controller. Apparently you can with the Pro Controller 2. But with the original Pro Controller, I used to just be able to grab it and then hold a button and it would turn my Switch on. I can't do that anymore, so that kind of sucks, which kind of makes me want to get a Switch 2 controller, but I'm going to try not to. Alright, so now we can actually talk about the reason I bought the thing, which is the games. So first of all, we could just go right into it with Mario Kart World, which I actually have right here. This game is really, really fun, and I know I talked about in my Mario Kart 8 video how excited I was for this game and how I cried when I watched the trailer for some reason. But yeah, this game has definitely, I feel like it's lived up to the hype. It has not exceeded my expectations, if that makes sense. There's a couple things I was a little disappointed by in it, and I guess we'll talk about that. So first of all, the driving feels great. It feels very different from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I'm very glad about, because that means there's still a reason to go back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. The open world is the main thing, I guess, to get out of the way. The main thing I was a little disappointed by, even though I've spent like dozens of hours in the game at this point, and most of that has been in free roam. The open world feels kind of empty. There is a lot of stuff to do in it, obviously, but it feels empty, and I think it's because it doesn't feel like the game is actually taking place in the open world, if that makes sense. But it is, right? Like if you go into a race and you start a race and you do a Grand Prix and you're in the world and you're traveling from track to track, and that is cool, it doesn't feel like that actually connects to the free roam aspect of the game, though, which I think they kind of missed, like what the point of like an open world driving game like Forza Horizon or something like that is that you can just be driving around and all of a sudden like, oh, here's an activity, here's a race, let me do a race, or like a Grand Prix or Cup or whatever. Like that's what's fun about those types of games, and there isn't any of that. The things that you can do in the open world you can only do in the free roam section, and the things that are actually the core gameplay of the game, like the racing and things like that, you can't do in the open world. I think the main way to fix this would be really easy. Like just have a way that if you drive up to a course in the game, just have the option like start a Grand Prix, start a time trial, start a knockout, like whatever it may be, and you could just race against bots that way. Or you could have like it actually be an online world. I know that would probably be a lot harder to just do in an update, but I think at least like have a lot of the offline game modes be accessible through the free roam mode. I think that is like pretty much a no-brainer, and I don't know why they didn't do that. And I think a lot of people would be a lot happier with the free roam mode if they did that, because that's kind of makes it have a cohesive, connected feel and feel like the game's actually taking place in this world. But nevertheless, I've still had a ton of fun just driving around the different courses and getting all the different collectibles and collecting all the outfits. I think it's been an absolute blast doing that, and I think I've gotten used to the driving and a lot of that kind of stuff through that. And it's just fun to kind of get into a Mario Kart game and not have to take it super seriously. Like I already am not like a pro Mario Kart player at all. I'm still like, I would consider myself a fairly casual player, but I would spend a lot of time playing time trials in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and doing the online mode and trying to get my VR up. And it was kind of a, demanding experience. And like when and you watch, like myself, I would watch a lot of YouTube content about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and it would just kind of like be like, okay, so that's how I'm supposed to be playing this. I'm supposed to be playing as that character and drifting like that. There's none of that in Mario Kart World yet. We're all just kind of bumbling around trying to figure out how the game works. And there's a surprising amount of depth to the way the game works with the rail grinding and the wall driving and things like that. And it's super fun to use all that stuff in the open world and then go into a race and kind of have the hang of it a little more. So I think they really cooked with this game. I think it's really cool. And I think it's worth getting a Switch for if you're a Mario Kart fan, because it does feel like a brand new thing that we haven't had in any other Mario Kart game. It's kind of fun to have a casual Mario Kart experience where you can just kind of drive around, because you don't really have that as much. It's always racing or battling or time trialing in the other Mario Kart games. This one you can just kind of hang out and chill and do things at your own pace, and I really enjoy that. Great character selection as well. I'm only missing one character, I believe, and that is the dolphin. I still have not unlocked the dolphin. So hopefully I will get that soon, but it's very fun. The character variety, everything is super just wacky and fun. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was kind of like a grittier, more serious Mario Kart game. If as serious as a Mario Kart game can be, I guess it was still obviously very goofy, but it felt like all the characters were like angry and everything was kind of lit in this like realistic, gritty, detailed kind of looking way, which looked great. But this game is a lot more cartoony and colorful and just fun and goofy, and I think that's fun. It has a different feel, has a different vibe, it plays different than Mario Kart 8, and I've been really enjoying it, even though I have some criticisms of it. Oh, another one, the fact that you can't just do a 3-lap race unless you randomly pick a track in versus mode is really dumb. If you pick a track, you should just race that track. Like, there should be a mode where you can do that, and I know you can, but it's like, I think that's kind of goofy that there's such a lack of just the traditional 3-lap races in the game. I think that's kind of dumb. But like Knockout Tour is awesome. I love Knockout Tour, and that's what I've been playing the most when I play online, because it's so different. Like, just the intensity of those races, it feels so different from playing a Mario Kart race while also still having the same like core gameplay. And I really enjoy that, like that tension of, oh, I gotta cross the line here or else I'm gonna get knocked out. Like, it's fun and it's easy to just sink a bunch of hours into that too. So anyway, that's gonna be it for Mario Kart World, because I got other games to talk about. All right, so the second game I played on my Switch 2 was Cyberpunk 2077. I've never played this game before. I've had a PS5 and I could have played it on there. Technically could have played it on PC at any point, but it wasn't a game that I was like super into the idea of. Like, I thought it sounded really cool. It wasn't like, that sounds like that would be my new favorite game, I gotta try that. It was like, that sounds kind of cool, I'd like to try that game, it sounds fun. And now that I have played it, I do really enjoy it. It's a fun shooter, it has really fun, like, fun open world to explore. A fairly interesting story. I found it pretty interesting. There's some good characters in there. I haven't finished it, obviously it's a pretty long game, but yeah, I've been enjoying the story well enough, and the world is fun to explore, and there's like lots of missions, maybe a little too many missions you can do because it's a little overwhelming. But overall, I think it's a really fun game. I have some criticisms with it, but I feel like everybody's kind of talked to death about Cyberpunk and all the issues that it's had. Like, especially at launch, it had a ton of issues that have pretty much all been fixed. Like, right now, it's just a really solid, like, open world, like, GTA-style shooter. And I think it's really fun and definitely worth giving a try if you have a Switch and you haven't ever played it, because it's a very fun game. And the fact that it runs so well on a handheld, like I said, this isn't like the best game ever by a long shot, but I'm really excited about it, and this game gets me really excited because it shows the potential of the Switch 2, that a Nintendo handheld can run a game like this graphically intensive and like needs this much like rendering power and all that stuff. I don't know all the technical terms, but the fact that this console is powerful enough to run a complex game like this is really, really cool. And really exciting, because it's like, what more could we get? Like, we could, like, playing this, I'm like, we could potentially get like a dumbed down version of GTA 6 when that comes out. I'm like, that's a really exciting idea. So we'll see. We will see what happens. But yeah, this is exciting because it just really shows off. And I'm assuming that's why they wanted to release this at launch, because they were like, this is going to really show off just how much more powerful this console is than the first one. And it does that extremely well, because yeah, I would just play it for several hours and I completely forgot. Not forgot, but I was just like enthralled in the game, and I wasn't thinking at all about the fact that I was playing it on a Nintendo handheld. Whereas like similar Switch ports on Switch 1, I would constantly be like, oh yeah, this is a Switch game because it looks like shit and it runs like shit. But this game doesn't. It looks great. So I would highly recommend checking this out. Also, while I'm holding the Switch 2 case, we could talk about the box art. I thought I wasn't going to like it because I'd seen a lot of images online that I didn't like. But once I actually saw this in person, I think it looks really cool. I know there's a lot of like blank space on it, but like PS5 has a lot of blank space on their boxes too. So it's like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it looks cool. I like it, and I like the red case and the fact that the spines actually have color now instead of just being all red. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, I've been enjoying this game. Definitely check it out if you haven't played Cyberpunk. It's very fun to play it on the handheld. And the next thing I want to talk about is games that have received updates. Nintendo first-party games like 3D World, Bowser's Fury, which is my favorite Mario game of all time. Mostly because of Bowser's Fury, but 3D World is also awesome, and I've spent a ton of time in that game. I think it's just the best game as far as like Mario's moveset, and as far as like just the creativity that you can have in that game, and like this slickness of all of it. It's just super satisfying and fun, especially Bowser's Fury, like I said, exploring that open world. And it was great on Switch 1, but I always had issues with it running in handheld at really low frame rates, and things would look fuzzy and pixelated, and the resolution would drop, and you could tell it just wasn't a very well optimized game, and it had a lot of trouble like having the whole world loaded in at all times on a Switch 1, especially in handheld. And Switch 2 doesn't have that issue. Like, I played it on the TV, and like that was legitimately like the most impressive thing for me, was playing Bowser's Fury and just seeing how clear everything looked in 4K and how like steady the frame rate was. It was like playing a whole different game. It was like re-experiencing my favorite Mario game all over again, and it was so cool. And like, it feels like the Switch 1 was holding this game back. Like, this is what the game was supposed to be, and like, it's so fun to play it now and not have any of those. Like, it was also already super fun on Switch 1, but now on Switch 2, like, even in handheld, it running at a steady frame rate and having a great resolution. Definitely like check it out if you have the game and you haven't tried it out on your Switch 2 yet. Definitely try it, pop in Bowser's Fury, and just like look at it. Like, it's, the detail of it is great, and like, it's so fun. So I definitely recommend checking out. Like, I still haven't tried Mario Odyssey, or like, I think there were a couple others that they updated that I haven't tried. I think they should update every Switch 1 first party game at some point on Switch 2, and they probably will. Maybe save for a few. I've been really enjoying Bowser's Fury. I finished it again because I had a save file I hadn't completed, so I just went through and got the rest of the shrines on it, and it was super fun to play it on the Switch 2. So yeah, check it out if you haven't on Switch 2. Super fun. And my most recent thing I've been playing that I just started yesterday, I bought it on launch day, but I just started playing it yesterday, is No Man's Sky. And I mentioned it earlier. There's a game I've always kind of had my eye on, but kind of like Cyberpunk, a lot of people talk about the issues that it had at launch and how it's kind of fixed now, and it's very different. The Switch 2 version of it, like, there was a Switch 1 version of it, which I never knew about. And like, after playing this on Switch 2, I have no fucking idea how they got this to run on the Switch 1. It's such a like demanding game. Like, it's not like the most graphically intensive thing like Cyberpunk is, but it is like a very demanding game as far as like procedurally generating the planets and being able to run the game at a steady frame rate while doing that. Like, how did they do that on Switch 1? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to try it on Switch 1 sometime. But yeah, on Switch 2, it feels like playing it on a PS4 or an Xbox One or something like that. It looks good, it runs well, and it's like my first time experiencing this game and like just have this exciting like space adventure. People always like talk about how fun it is to like blast off into space and go to another procedurally generated planet and just explore it and do all this stuff. And it's such like an immersive game, and the fact that I can play a game and be that immersed in it and like excited about this game while on a handheld, once again, is really exciting. That it can run it in a way that it is still very functional and very immersive and very fun. So yeah, check out No Man's Sky if you haven't. A lot of people don't know that it got a Switch 2 update because they didn't announce it or anything. They didn't release a new physical for it or anything. Like, it's just on the eShop, you can go buy it, and I just bought it. It was like $25 to get the Switch 2 version if you don't have No Man's Sky already. And I think if you have it already on Switch 1, you can just buy an upgrade pack for a few dollars. I think it was like $10. So yeah, definitely check that out if you like No Man's Sky and you didn't know they have an update. They have an update. If you haven't tried it before, definitely try it out, especially if you're a sci-fi person, because it is super fun to just like blast off into space. It's like an experience that I haven't had in a game before, and I'm really glad that I got to have that experience on the Switch 2, and I'll probably play it more right after I finish recording this because I want to get back into it. But yeah, all right, so that's pretty much all I've played like Switch 2 wise. I have played some other stuff which we'll get to later, but I wanted to talk about key cards. Key cards are stupid. Just gonna come out and say it. I think everybody pretty much agrees it's dumb. Maybe I have a little bit of a different perspective on it. I feel like everybody agrees it's kind of dumb. Me personally, I'm like, why are you shocked that they did this? Like, I'm not shocked that they did it. I think it's dumb, but like, I've already kind of switched to buying most stuff digital when it comes to my other consoles. The only reason I have like a few Switch 1 physical games is because I love Nintendo and I like having their games physically. So I don't know why people are surprised about this, because PS4, like PlayStation and Xbox have been doing this for like 10 years. Like, most of the game is not on the disc. Jedi Survivor, for instance, on PS5, it's a game I haven't finished just because it takes up so much storage and I don't like it enough to have it take up literally 150 gigabytes. Like, my jaw dropped first time I put that disc in. I'm like, this is a disc. So there's like, if this is 150 gigabytes of a download, there's no way any of that is contained on the disc. So it's like, yeah, if you haven't been playing any other game consoles, yeah, you might be shocked that you're getting some game cards that don't actually have the game on them. I feel like that's been a thing for a long time though, but I think it's stupid, and I'll tell you why it's stupid. Because I either want to have a physical card, right, so that I can not have it take up as much storage on my console, and so I can have a physical case that I can put on a shelf. Those are the benefits of having a physical game. If I download the game, I just want the convenience of having it downloaded, and I can always just click it and open it and not have to worry about swapping a cart or a disc in and out. And like, that's why most of my games on PlayStation, like 99% of them, are digital. I only have a few physical games for that. And so now that Nintendo is doing that with these game key cards, where they just are a key to download the game, my question is, what's the point of even fucking buying them? The whole point of buying a digital game is so you don't have to swap the card in and out. The whole point of buying a physical game is so you won't have the digital game taking up storage on your console. So why would you buy a game key card so you have the inconvenience of always having to have that card go in and out of your Switch, and also have the inconvenience of having the game downloaded on your Switch all the time? Like, I've been considering getting Hogwarts Legacy and Hitman World of Assassination, and I'm not going to buy the physicals of them because those games probably take up a lot of storage, and I don't want to have to take a game key card in and out and have to worry about the storage. So I'm just going to buy the digital versions of the games. And that's where the next thing comes in, is games like Split Fiction, which I haven't played yet. I've heard it's really good, but this doesn't have a key card in it. It doesn't have a card at all. It doesn't have a key card. It has a download code, and I've already used that, so yeah, you can keep it. I didn't realize it was a download code until I was in line, and I just looked at it, it's like, oh, this is a download code. Yeah, oh well, I'll buy it anyway, because I wanted the game, and I would have downloaded it anyway. And it's the same thing, I just also get a case that I can put on the shelf. And I get the convenience of just being able to play a downloaded game on my Switch. So, like, why don't they just do this? If they want to do physical releases of the games, just do download codes. The game key card adds nothing to the experience except the inconvenience of having to take a game card in and out while also still having to have the full game downloaded on your console in order to play it. Like, just do this. This works fine. And, like, I enjoy having things, just a case to put on my shelf. That's fine with me. And then I can just play the digital game. Like, that's okay. I don't need a goofy, nonsensical card to just be the key to play my game and then download it. So that's the most negative I'm going to get in this video. I'll just say that. That's how I feel about the game key cards. I think it's kind of dumb. And download codes are fine with me because I play a lot of digital games, like I said. Even though, obviously, I like having some physical ones, I'm fine with digital games. So, yeah, just do download codes. Don't do the keycard thing. It's dumb. And the next thing I want to talk about is Switch 1 third-party ports on the Switch 2. I want to start with this because I've been playing this game. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I've been playing the Switch 1 port of Doom Eternal on here, and it feels different. And I'm not just saying that, like, it feels different because I'm obviously playing it on a larger console. It feels different, I think, first of all, because it's running at a consistent frame rate. Is it a high frame rate? No, it's still like 30 FPS, maybe even less. It's locked at that frame rate, but it's running consistently at that frame rate, and it's keeping its resolution, but also its resolution looks higher. Like, I don't know if any of you have played Doom Eternal on Switch 1, but this looks better. Like, it looked extremely blurry and, like, out of focus, like, all the time, even on the menu screen on the Switch 1 port, which I would still consider the Switch 1 port, like, a really impressive port, because it's such, like, a graphically intensive game, and it's such a fast-paced and intense game that it's incredible that they were able to run it as steadily as they did on Switch 1. But, like, Switch 2 is a completely different experience, because it feels like everything's clearer, everything looks nicer, the screen is larger, the analog sticks actually feel like proper analog sticks, like I mentioned before. So, like, you can actually, like, play the game on here and forget that you're playing it on a handheld once again. So, like, I think if they did, like, you can tell it's still the Switch 1 version. I'm not saying they updated it, but I feel like there's something going on with the, like, NVIDIA chip or whatever it is that they use in this thing that is upscaling the game, because I heard that that is possibly a thing that this chip can do. And I think that might be what's going on, because sometimes I will exit out of the game, like, just on the menu screen, and then I'll open it back up, and it'll be blurrier and out of focus, and then it'll gradually come back into focus. I just did it again. It wouldn't show up on camera, so I'm not going to show it on camera. But I think it's really, like, impressive already that, like, just running a game like Doom Eternal at a steady frame rate and with a better resolution, even if it is still obviously the Switch 1 port, like, if they did, like, a proper Switch 2 version of it, like they have done with No Man's Sky, do an update so you're basically playing a PS4, Xbox One version of the game on a handheld, that would be incredible, and I would totally love that. I think they should do that with so many other games, like the first Doom 2016. They could absolutely do that with the Batman Arkham trilogy. They could do an update that basically gives you the Return to Arkham versions of Asylum and City, and gives you a version of Arkham Knight that, you know, works. That would be great. So yeah, I did actually try Arkham Knight on the Switch 2 to see if it improved it at all. Once again, running at a steadier frame rate, still not a good frame rate. It is nice that you can drive the Batmobile around Gotham without the game just breaking like it used to, but that's pretty much the only positive I can say, because the resolution still sucks and you can still tell it's the shitty Switch 1 port. So, like, if we got a proper version of Arkham Knight, that would be awesome, especially, but also remasters of Asylum and City would be great. So yeah. So would I say the Switch 2 is worth getting? I would say yes, it is. If you have enjoyed your Switch 1 and you have the money to pick up a Switch 2 right now, definitely grab it. And I think a lot of people have, which is why it's become the most successful like first week of a console of all time, which is pretty insane. I was expecting it to be successful. I was not expecting that. I was expecting to be a bit more niche than like the Switch 1 even was, because it's a lot of people would look at it and be like, I have a Switch 1, why do I need a Switch 2? Which is valid. Like, if you're not like that into Nintendo games where you need to have all the up-to-date ones, or even if you are into Nintendo games and you're just like, yeah, I'm cool with my Switch 1, like, if nothing you're seeing, like, or hearing me say in this video, or seeing in, like, trailers and things like that is convincing you to go out and buy one right now, definitely wait. Like, it'll go down in price, you'll be able to pick up the games on sale, hopefully, and pick up the console on sale maybe around the holiday season. It definitely be, I understand a lot of people wanting to wait, and, like, maybe wait for like if a new Zelda comes out, a new 3D Mario comes out, or even Donkey Kong looks awesome, and I cannot wait for that game because that looks so unique. It looks like what I love about, like, you know, Donkey Kong 2D platformers and like Mario 3D platformers, like, mixed together with this whole new twist where you get to break a bunch of shit on the ground. Like, that looks awesome, and I cannot wait to play that game. But yeah, maybe wait till next month if that's the game that looks more exciting to you. And yeah, I would understand waiting, but I think if you're, like, interested in playing Mario Kart, or just interested in playing a lot of these more powerful games in handheld, and you're like me and you prefer playing pretty much all your games in handheld, this is a really exciting device, because I know they're going to put so much more on this thing, and it's already been a ton of fun playing games on it. So I definitely recommend picking it up if you're, like, really into handheld gaming like I am, and especially Nintendo stuff. So that's going to be pretty much all I have to say, I think. I have to look down at my notes here. I was gonna, like, ask the question, like, is it my favorite console of all time? Right now, I would be inclined to say yes, but that's kind of recency bias, so I probably shouldn't answer that in this video. But, like, as of right now, I feel like this is the coolest console I've ever owned. Like, obviously, the PS5 is a more powerful console, so it's like, as far as the best console, I don't know. But I think the versatility of it, and, like, that's what made the Switch 1 so great, was that it was a game that could play console games portably, and that's awesome. And it wasn't great on Switch 1. There's a lot of things it couldn't do, but Switch 2 can do most of the things that Switch 1 couldn't do. And that's what's exciting about it to me personally. So if that's something you're interested in, like, definitely pick it up. So yeah, for me right now, I'm feeling like this could at least become my favorite console of all time. Only time will tell, I guess, is what I'm saying. So I'm very much looking forward to the future of this console. I think there's so much potential for Nintendo's first party games and for proper, like, ports of next gen and current gen games on this console. I think, yes, it's going to still be underpowered compared to whatever PlayStation and Xbox come out with next, but I think it's going to stand toe-to-toe with at least the current generation we're in right now, because of the fact that it can be played portably and it can do so much more than the first Switch did. So I'm very excited about it. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble. If you came this far, you must like listening to me talk, and I would have you know that I will be on my good friend the Zoo Boys channel on Tuesday. So next Tuesday, after you're watching this, I will be on his channel to talk about the Last of Us games, which are some of my favorite video games of all time. I plan on hopefully doing a video essay on the first game at some point in the future, but if you just want to hear me talk about those games, definitely go check out that channel. It's called The Zoo Boy, and we're going to be doing a live stream. They've done a whole bunch of episodes where they've talked about the TV show as it's come out, and now I get to be on to talk about the games because that's what I'm interested in. So I'm very excited to do that. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. I'll link his channel in the description below. And thank you guys so much for watching till the end of this very rambly, very unscripted, disorganized video. I've really enjoyed recording it. I've had so much to say about this console, and I have not had the chance to just spit out all my thoughts. I probably missed a few things. I appreciate all you guys for watching. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.